Good morning. Welcome back to another episode of Jen Gaga's World. This video is going to be super just unplanned. I decided that I'm going to capture my feelings about getting my very first mammogram. Yes, you heard that. We survived, guys. I'm going to video real quick. So my boobies survived, got smashed. For those who have never done it, they did the top, like they put it on a platter and then they smush you down, and then the next one they smush it down and then they do a side angle, so you're like at a diagonal. It's awkward, but there's a little placement for your hand, and then they like smash it from the side so that they could get angles from both ways, so, or pictures from both angles. But she said it'll be about like 24 to 48 hours, and my doctor will get notified, and then it'll be on my online account so I can look. So hopefully everything's good, and I'll keep you all posted. Hey y'all, so I just got home from being out at the office this morning. We had a meeting and then we had a potluck, and then after that I stopped by and got some coffee real quick on the way home because it started off to be a good morning and it got real stressful real quick. But I thought that this video wasn't going to even make it to YouTube because it was super short and I didn't want everybody all up in my mix, so obviously I couldn't take the camera with me during my mammogram, and I was like, that's okay, I don't need to post anything about it. Well, today during my meeting I get a phone call, and because the signal's not that great at work, I tried answering it. It didn't even work. It went straight to voicemail. They left me a voicemail, and then after the meeting that was going to go into a potluck, I took a moment to go listen to the message, and it said it was from radiology. So I called and I gave them all my information, and the gal says, yeah, we want to schedule you for a follow-up radiology appointment for a breast exam. And I said, I thought I just had a mammogram on Sunday. She goes, yeah, but we actually want to have you come back in because we want to have you checked by a different machine. And I thought, a different machine? So I said, is something wrong, or was there something in the images? And she's like, no, we don't want to worry you, but we just want better images. And I'm like, okay, well, that's, of course, they say don't worry, but in your mind, you saw something, you just want to confirm. So I asked her when's her next appointment, and she said the next available appointment is next Thursday. Y'all, today is Tuesday the 6th. Next Thursday is the 15th. That's a whole week and a half, and then a couple more days after that to find out the results. The upside is I have a routine OB appointment with my doctor on the 19th, which originally was supposed to be yesterday, but she had called out, so they rescheduled me to next 2 weeks from now because that was my first availability. So I guess the upside to that is that we can hopefully review the results together, and hopefully she can give me news that it's nothing. But in the meantime, I'm not going to lie, I am a little stressed out. Like, I'm trying not to think about it. I'm trying to keep good spirits. I'm going to go light my little St. Jude candle. For those of you who are Catholic, if you know, you know. But it's one of those things that it's a reminder why it's important to do these routine checks. I also know that I feel like they've said that for women, they don't want us testing too early, but I'm like, I get that they don't want you on radiation, but at the same time, it's like, this is how you find out sooner. So I'm really hopeful that it's just all, everything's okay. But it's just, again, a reminder of all the things that we have to worry about as women, in addition to already having to worry about all the other things that a normal human being has to worry about. So that's where we're at. So I'm going to keep in good spirits. I know by the time this video goes up, we would already know what's going on, what's the tea. But I just thought, well, now I have actual footage to capture and kind of talk about. I will say that I will say that I was a little stressed, and I mentioned it to my BFF, and I also mentioned it to my coworker, and both of them had similar stories in that they've had a scare like that before, and they were told to come back and get rechecked, and it turns out everything was okay. That happened to my coworker and then my best friend's mom. So I'm hopeful that that's all it is, and that this is more common than not. But still a little scary to say the least. But all right, I'm gonna go ahead and I'll show you real quick what coffee we got, and I'm gonna get back to work and go about my day and try not to think about it. And real quick, if you're curious about our drinks, my son, he got a picture perfect, and then I ordered the iced Snickers, and it's like a mocha basically. But yeah, so this is my little treat to get me through this stressful afternoon. Hey, what's up everyone? So I got my mammogram results a couple weeks ago. What is it? 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago yesterday. And although nothing on there said anything, crazy, it did indicate that my right breast was more dense than my left. My left was perfectly fine, which ironically for me, because if anything, I would have thought that there was some sort of follow-up to be done on the left, only because that's the one that years ago when I was breastfeeding my son, I felt little bumps on the right side of my nipple on my left breast, so closest to the center section of my chest. And at the time I had gotten a whole biopsy done and everything because I was nervous. Like, I didn't know if it was just a milk duct or what was going on. Luckily at the time they did that and found out that it was just a milk duct. It was nothing cancerous, benign, the whole nine. So thankfully I was super relieved, and thankful, and went about my life. So now fast forward about 15 years or so, I go get my mammogram and everything's fine on that side. However, my right side is more dense, which I never knew you can have one breast denser than the other. And so I'm learning as I go. I've done my own research. I also read, based on, and like actual websites, not just like Google, right? Like I went to like actual medical type websites, and please do not take this as any kind of medical advice in any which way. This is just my story. But I did read that it could be that women have different density on different breasts. So doesn't mean that you're going to get breast cancer, but from what I read, and ignore my nails because I took off my acrylics, as I was saying, so breast density doesn't mean that you're going to get breast cancer, but the reason why they say it tends to happen more with women with dense breasts is because of the fact that it's harder to catch, which wonderful. So that just means further testing for me. The part that does worry me though is that they did see a mass on the bottom right side of my breast, and because it is so dense, they just want to confirm that it's nothing. And I'm just like, but in my mind, I'm like, all I hear is, but you saw something. So that's what I'm on my way to go get handled today. So basically, I don't know what kind of testing they're going to do. I just know they're going to do an additional test today. I don't know if it's going to be an additional mammogram. I don't know if it's going to be I read that there's like an ultrasound that they could do. I'm not sure what's going to happen. But what I do know is that it's going to involve follow-up, and I do have an appointment with my OB on Monday either way, because I've just been going through this whole, like, I'm 40 and I'm just trying to like check myself, and according to my record, which I could have sworn I did one within the last 2 to 3 years, but apparently I'm due for my my what is that, like your cervical, oh my god, pap smear, right? I don't know, I'll put it in the video here, but anyway, like TMI, and for any of you who might get a little like cringe off stuff like that, feel free to click out. But this is just my story, and I just, yeah. So I'm really hopeful. I'm gonna keep praying and speak the positive into existence. And it sucks, right? Because it's like it takes you to getting uncomfortable with the potential, bad news in order to ensure that you are good in an effort to keep living. So it's like, you're damned if you do, damned if you do. Not damned if you do. Like, if anything, it's a good relief when you find out that everything's okay. But it's the fear that gets you as you're going through the process and waiting, you know? But again, if you capture these things early, the earlier you know, the better chance you have of surviving and, fixing the issue and surviving. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go get things handled. I'll come back when I'm done. And then after that, I'm going to drive to the office and work and just try to get my mind off it. That's the one positive thing about going into the office today, because it just gets your mind off of the reality. So, all right, my people, I'll be back in a little bit. I'm freaking out, y'all. Did mammography follow-up images, and then that turned into they wanted an ultrasound. And now we're waiting to see what the doctor says. Keeping hope alive, but I'm like a nervous wreck right now. I'll be back. Hey guys, I'm sitting inside of the parking garage, and I'm sure you can imagine by the tears. No, I don't know for sure what it is yet, but I am confirmed that there's a mass in my right breast. So the next step is going to be a biopsy, which unfortunately can't be scheduled until March 8th. Today is February 15th. So already I've dealt with 2 weeks of torture from something that I thought was gonna be a quick check. And I was gonna be told, you're good. So see you next year. No. I'm like thankful, I guess, that I vlogged what I thought I wasn't even gonna end up posting. And yeah, so a couple days later. So just to give you a full context of the whole process here, it was a Sunday, I think it was like February 2nd or something like that, when I came in for my original mammogram. Then I got the call that Wednesday that I needed to come back for more testing because of the mass. So then, it was a week and a day. Well, a week and a day. So I had to wait an additional week to get the actual follow-up, which is today. And now today, I'm told that after the additional mammography images, along with the ultrasound, that there is confirmation that there is a mass in my right breast, that you could either wait and see what happens, or you could do a biopsy. And because normally a mass imaged is like oval, a benign mass, but because there's a little bit extra there that she doesn't feel confident just to let it go. And to be ultra safe and extra safe, basically they need to do a biopsy to make sure it's not cancerous. She said usually biopsies, 2 out of the 3 come back benign, but that's not a big chance, right? That's 2 out of 3. So I'm a little freaked out because I never thought I would be here. There's no history of it in my family. And I just don't know what to think. And I don't want to think negative, but it's a little hard when it's been a fear of mine as long as I could think back. So yeah, here I am. Life. So I'm gonna keep praying and hoping that it's not cancerous and that we could move on or, life. But I hate to think that this is the beginning of a rough journey. But a journey that hopefully bring me back to whole again. So I was gonna go straight to the office, but I am a mess, so I think I'm gonna go home, clean up, and then I'll go to the office. So yeah, I guess I'll follow up in a couple weeks when it's time for my biopsy. Hey, what's up, you guys? So it's been a couple of days since I last talked to you all. That day was on Thursday, if I recall correctly. Thursday the 15th, that's right, yes, the day after Valentine's Day. So as you saw in the video, I was quite devastated. I am still very much shocked to hear, what I was told. However, I'm trying to stay positive. One thing that I haven't really shared is that I was planning already to embark on therapy. I always wanted to try therapy. I had contemplated on doing it last year. I just never really came across a practitioner that was in the network of the EAP program that we have through work, through my job. And I went through a program through the Latina Empire called Clarity, which I felt really good about. So I kind of feel like that helped, in a way. And then things started to happen in life, and I was like, you know what? I need that one-on-one, but really like that one-on-one time with someone, especially when I have this perk through my job, right? And I have it through insurance as well. It's just that when I look through the insurance practitioners, it's there's so much red tape, and I just didn't find one that I felt that I wanted to reach out to. And I wanted someone that was Latina and I could relate to, and she could relate to me, and she knows our culture. And it's sad, you don't really see that, especially like in like a big hospital setting. And perhaps I'm not looking correctly, maybe I'm wrong, but I felt like I just wasn't finding it. And it wasn't until my really good friend, shout out to who she is, she knows who she is, she shared with me this website, and this video is not sponsored, by the way, but it was about different Latinx therapists in different parts of our country, which in this case I found someone who was not at all in our area, but fortunately she was looped into the EAP company that works through my job. And so she was able to make an exception because she doesn't really use that that collaboration as much anymore because it's a little more complicated in how she gets paid. But I think that she felt that I related to her, and I did share with her that it was really hard finding someone. And so just in conversation, she made an exception. Not so much an exception, because she's still, like she said, she's still in their network. It's just she hadn't really worked with them anymore. So I'm very thankful for that, and I connected with her really well. So far today was session 1, but it's just crazy how things work, because I needed it. Like, I needed it not only for just my own personal things that I already wanted to work on, but now having this kind of looming over my head, like, it goes to show how everything is truly connected. Like, stress brings on problems, and then those problems bring on more stress. So having someone to, in Spanish they call this desahogarte, like to be able to, what is that word? Like, I don't know, talk about it in English. I don't know. I don't know what the proper term is in English, but basically it just feels good knowing that I have someone that I can actually talk to. I'm gonna prop y'all because I'm driving. So what I'm doing right now is, because you're probably like, okay, that has nothing to do with what you're sharing. I had my original OB appointment with my doctor scheduled for 2 weeks ago, and she ended up having to reschedule because she ended up calling out the day. It was like February 3rd or something, 2 weeks ago today. Basically, it was on a Monday. And I ended up rescheduling it to today just because of the fact that I'm off, every other Monday. And so today was the first day that worked best for me. But it all kind of worked out once again, just randomly, because I had gone to my mammogram. My original mammogram appointment was on that Sunday prior to the appointment I was going to have with her. And then, that appointment got rescheduled, the one I said that was on a Monday, and then she must have gotten the mammogram results a few days after that, and then she ordered the follow-up. So I'm sure by today, knowing that I was coming, I'm sure she saw my results. So my appointment is a standard, every 3 year, come in and do your pap, do your, cervical screening and whatnot. But I'm sure there's going to be a little bit more of a conversation, especially because of the situation that I'm faced with. I'm trying not to go too deep into conversations just because, again, I don't want to speak negative into existence, but I'm also wanting to, get her take on things, because God forbid it's what we don't want it to be, then at least I'm better prepared mentally and hopefully emotionally, as well as ready physically to jump into what it is that we got to do. So I'm just trying to stay positive as much as possible. So I will come back when my appointment is over and see what updates she gave me and what she had to say. What's up, guys? So I'm not trying to get super excited or relieved, but I love my doctor so much. Like, she gave me a whole nother level of hope. And I'm also feeling a little silly, because let me explain why. So back in 2005, I had my second son, and I breastfed, of course. And one of the main reasons why I also chose to breastfeed is because when I remember them saying that breastfeeding can help reduce the chances of breast cancer. And so, of course, like, not only was it cheaper, at least, well, breastfeeding, it's its own category, perhaps another video that I can share in the future, but maybe not. It's been so long now. But breastfeeding for me wasn't as cost saving as I would have liked, because I unfortunately didn't produce as much milk as I had produced with my first son. But anyways, I still managed and still wanted to give that opportunity to my kids and get all the nutrients, etc. So a few months later, I noticed a lump in my breast. This entire time, I've been thinking that it was in my left side. And then, of course, I have this whole thing happen, everything's happening, and never did I think back to then and realize that it was on my right side. So this whole stressful situation could have possibly been, maybe not avoided, but minimized, because I could have been like, oh, perhaps it's the same thing. But this whole time I've been thinking, no, it was on my left. And it's been so long. That was when I was 22 years old, back in 2006. We are in 2024. It's almost been 20 years. So I go to my doctor today, and she's like, I guess I could ask you how you're doing, but I can only imagine you're not doing that well because of what's going on. I said, yes. So I'm sure the MA had already kind of given her heads up. And then, of course, she saw my chart, and she's like, I always review the charts the night before. So she goes, the thing that stands out to me is that it's very much in the same spot where you had your issue the last time. And I said, well, what's weird is that it was on my left, not on my right. She goes, are you sure? She goes, I'm pretty sure I read your record said the right. And I said, was it on my right? And then I'm starting to like feel myself up, right? And then she's like, I'm pretty sure it said right. And so she pulls up my record. She goes all the way back to '06 and confirms that it was on my right. And she listed out, like, you know, the medical terminology of like how many centimeters from like what's, and it's like 3 o'clock, 1 centimeter to the right of basically the patient's right breast, right? So basically they have it all like mapped out and how they word and the measurements, etc. But what was interesting is, and like I said, this whole time I've been thinking that that initial thing was on my left side. And she said the only thing that's changed from that time to this time is one said 2 centimeters, the other one said 1. I think she said the first time it was 1 centimeter, this time it was 2. And of course, you naturally age, your breasts, they change, you know, size, etc. So, and I had 2 more kids after that. So, you know, things change. So she's thinking that it's the same thing, and that, I forget how she called it, but she thinks that it's called fibrosis. Honestly, I'm not even going to say the word. I'll try to Google it and see if I can enter it here in the video. But she's giving me hope, because she goes, even if you wouldn't have gone to that first and you would have came here, and we don't know what we know from '06, and you would have just came out of the blue and said, I feel something, I would have likely told you we'll keep an eye on it. She goes, I doubt that I would have turned it into something else, which is true, because when I brought that to her attention back in '06, she wanted to just keep an eye on it. And I said, no, I want to actually get it biopsied. And they went in, they didn't do mammograms, they didn't do all of that, because they just went in and just did a biopsy. This time, obviously now everybody else is involved, so I had already gone through that process. But she's like, I'm pretty sure it's going to be that. She goes, and when you go to your appointment, ask the doctor, could this possibly be the same thing, or is this a separate area that you're going to be examining? She goes, because if they didn't see that you had past radiology visits on that particular breast, or in general, they look at your past, you know, radiology appointments, and they wouldn't have found this because of the fact that you never went through radiology the first time back in '06. So this gives me hope. She said what they'll probably end up doing is looking up your chart, and they'll look at what happened back in '06, and they may find that that's exactly what happened. And she goes, but I still want you to have them biopsy you. Doesn't matter, still have them do the biopsy, because we want to make sure and triple check, you know, double check, triple check, whatever you want to call it. But I wouldn't worry so much. She goes, I don't want to have you so sure that you're not worrying about it, because of course we want to make sure you're okay. She goes, but I also don't want you to stress yourself out, because it's a couple weeks out. And then she also recommended to call radiology at the end of the day or in the morning to see if I could get in, you know, anytime sooner if I'm available to go, because that just gets things done and out of the way. So that's kind of where we're at. I'm feeling so much relief, because I'm like, maybe it is that, and I'm over here thinking it's something completely separate, and it's been the same thing all along. I'm really hopeful that that's what it is. But then she did say that if it is a concern, it might be worth just having them get rid of it. So she's like, first let's get the biopsy done, and then we'll figure out what our next steps are. But for right now, I think we're just gonna hang on to hope, and I'm gonna see if I could get in sooner, hopefully. Hey guys, so today is March 8th. I am getting ready to go to my appointment to get my biopsy. Sorry, the lighting's a little off. Why do I have a full face on? Well, long story. I actually have a work event after work tonight, and I don't know how long my procedure is going to take. They said it could be anywhere from like 2 to 2.5 hours, and I don't want to risk not being done in time and having to come home and not being able to actually pay attention and focus on my face. The downside is I'll probably be greasy by the time this appointment's done, and hopefully I don't cry, you know, the whole thing. I think I'm all cried out at this point. I think at this point I'm just like, I'm ready to get this done and over with. That's how I'm really feeling, honestly. And because of the good news, or the hopeful news that I got the last time I went to see my OB, I feel like it's definitely put my nerves at ease. So if anything, right now, I'm just ready to go in here and be told I'm good and move forward. That's what I'm manifesting at this point. But yeah, so I'm just waiting on my husband. He's picking up our kids because they had a minimum day today. And then he's gonna drop them off and then pretty much pick me up, and then we're gonna go. So, just, feeling a little like, I guess, oh hum is the word. Ignored my background at this point. I don't have time for that. My makeup actually came out kind of cute. Let me just do this so that I can get some. There we go. Came out kind of cute. I will be putting a lash on later, but I just felt like it's a little too much for my appointment right now. And you know what? I'm feeling a vibe of pulling a card. And when you're probably like, what do you mean a card? One of my good friends, her heavenly birthday will be Monday. She passed away 2 years ago. Her name was Lolita. So Loli, I feel you with me. But she gave me these cards once, and I'm going to pull a card. Whenever I feel like I want to talk to her, I pull a card, and it's like a way that she's sending a message, Oh, this one says, if you want to be somebody really special, just be you. They're double-sided. And the other side says, may you experience the love of Christ, though it is too great to understand fully. So there's that. I need to pull one more. I'm looking for some hopeful inspiration here. God will meet all of your needs according to his riches of his glory in Christ Jesus. Bill 4:19. And the other one, God's most precious work of art is the warmth and love of a woman's heart. Well, this is very touching, especially because today is International Women's Day. So happy International Women's Day, everyone. But I do hear the hubby pulling up, so I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. But I will come back later, probably later, like tonight after my event, to give a quick run through of how it all went. But pray for me, all. Send good vibes. So I'm trying to be slick, so I don't get in trouble. I think they would say something if they saw I was in videoing, but I'm the only one in the little room here. But I just got the biopsy done. They did 2 pokes and then 2 pokes, and then they did the little pin. I'll come back to it with a more loud, clear thing. It hurts a little bit. It's a little tender. I'm sure it'll hurt more later once the numbing medication wears off, but I'm in the mammogram room. They're gonna give me another mammogram on that side, which I'm like, ow, because they just poked it, prodded it a couple times. But I'm in good spirits. The doctor mentioned that it looks benign, but of course we want to be sure, and that a biopsy is always going to be necessary if I ever want to look into getting it removed in the future. So, but I'll come back later with a better update. Look how cute the wall is. I think I showed it in the last video. I forgot to mention that the doctor said I should probably have results by either Tuesday or Wednesday, but that he'll call either way. He won't email or leave it in a voicemail. He'll actually call. So I'm like, rain. This hair, I need to go home and fix it, but we'll get through it. Okay, all done. Back on. The mammogram wasn't as bad. It wasn't as bad as like the actual mammogram. They just kind of did imaging to make sure the little pin that they put in there was good and done, but just glad it's all done with. Gosh, this lighting is terrible. I'm working today, and this morning I've just been, working from my PJs, no makeup, no nothing, and it was a little before 11. I said, you know what, let me just, take a break, reset, shower, wash my hair, and do a little something and put a little something on my face. And in the shower, it's the weirdest thing. It's 11:21 as we speak. In the shower, when I was in the shower, like, I was just thinking, because I've been checking, even though they said it'd be 2 to 3 business days. I had my procedure on Friday, and I've been checking in, like, just in case. I'm like, well, maybe they worked over the weekend. Maybe they worked super early this morning. Like, I've been literally checking. And this morning I checked at about 8 o'clock. There was still nothing there. And then, like I said, I was doing my work, just minding my business. Got up, go do the reset, wash my hair because I want to wash my hair, and I'm obviously letting it air dry. And as I'm showering and, being careful, because I saw be careful with the area, I feel like I was just thinking of my friend Loli, who passed away, and like I subconsciously, like I told myself as if I were hearing her voice. And like I literally wasn't, like, imagining it. And it was like, hey sis, you're gonna be all right. Like, everything's gonna be okay. And what's interesting is, like, I did very minimal, like, this is BB cream with just, like, obviously my eyebrows, a little bit of shadow just to kind of like bring out the color, and obviously no liner, just a little bit of mascara just to, look alive later. Obviously I'm going to do something with this later this evening before I go, but I did all that, and I came down about 10 minutes ago, and I'm sitting here working, and I don't know what, but something told me just to look at my email. And of course, my phone defaulted to my work email, and I went to go to all emails. And then I see the email from Kaiser, and the email says, you have a new clinician result. And I'm like, oh my God, my heart just freaking racing, like immediately racing. Like, do I want to wait? Do I want to open it? Do I want the kids? Do I not? I opened it up. And nowhere in this result am I seeing the word benign. So I'm freaking the hell out. And I just looked up, and it says on there, it's a fibroadenoma. And I just looked it up, and it says it means it's a benign tumor, which, and I want to say that's exactly what my doctor said, my actual OB. And I want to say it's the same exact thing that I had from way back when. If it's not, well, it's probably similar. I don't know. But it says that it typically happens. It's a solid breast lump. I'll show the image in just a second. It says this breast lump is not cancer. It happens most often between ages 15 and 35, but it could be found at any age in anyone who has periods. It may feel firm, smooth, and rubbery as a round shape. And what's interesting is I'm looking at the image that's on here. And the image on here, it looks just like the image I saw in the screen when he was showing me on the radiology doctor that was doing the actual biopsy. And I apologize. I'm sure I'm getting that wrong, but I'm just so freaking relieved, you guys. Like, and the reason I bring up my sis, because I feel like this is, I don't know, like her little sign from heaven, like, girl, I told you were going to be okay. And now you can go celebrate my birthday without the stress and really celebrate life, y'all. Like, this has been the most freaking stressfulest month in my life. Like, just grateful. I mean, obviously I still have to hear back from the doctor, but I'm just so freaking relieved, you guys. Oh, thank you, Lord. Oh, thank you, Lord. And I said I would show you guys. Sorry, I just like randomly ended. But this is what it says. And this is what I remember. Like when they did the image, which is obviously because that's mammography and this is the ultrasound. But when he was injecting like the needle, like it looked like it just like, let me grab a pen. Here's my pencil. So when he did the needle, it was like, it looked like it went like, psh, like literally, like, and then the other one just like from a different angle, just like shot right through it to take whatever little sample they could out. Oh, I'm so relieved. But thanks again so much for listening. And I'll be back once I get a word back from the doctor just to confirm. But again, I've been sharing this because I originally was just going to be like, oh, I went for my first mammogram. And then it turned into this chaos. And I was like, at first it was like, oh, it's no point. Like the mammogram, just, it's no point. But then when all this happened, I'm like kind of thankful that I did capture from the beginning, because it's scary, but it's also a reminder why we have to keep checking and making sure that we are doing our best for our own selves. And there's my sis. You see her? That's her right there. I bought her a little bouquet of flowers yesterday. And those 3 flowers, it's so interesting. I did not plan those 3 flowers in there, the daisies. But I was telling my 2 good friends that I'm going to go see this evening that I feel like the 3 red flowers, because I wanted yellow, something about yellow. Like I wanted yellow for her, to celebrate her. And then I found this bouquet with the pretty little, I don't know what they're called, but like palms. And when I was putting it together at home, I was like, those 3 little daisies almost to me felt like it represented us, because we were always there and, you know, just celebrating her. So I'll take it up close, but I'm so freaking thankful, y'all. There's my sis. I love this photo. I still remember taking this photo. I love it because it reminds me of, we were at Stinson Beach, and it reminds me so much of how much she loved that beach. We would take 1 beach day a year, and we would go during the middle of the week. We, as in like myself and a couple of friends, we would bring all the goodies. She loved sangria, and we would just sit by the beach and just literally just enjoy the day. And I think this was the last time we went before like COVID and everything hit the fan. But there's her bouquet. And I love how the palms, like the way they form, they look like, it almost looks like a heart. Yeah. And then I got these. I got the flowers at Trader Joe's, but I got these because I wanted to gift a little something to my friends later when I see them. So these will be a little reminder, a little something to celebrate our sis. Hey, what's up, you guys? I was sitting here working and I realized that I don't think I ever closed out my breast cancer scare video. So I just wanted to come on here. I'm actually put together. I look alive today, and I just really wanted to come on here and say that I thank you so much for watching and for following along on this journey. It's not every day that somebody gets good news, and in my case, I'm just super thankful. Thankful for those of you that I did share. Thankful for those of you that were there for me and supportive, and just wanted to remind everybody that life is too short to waste it on things that don't matter. So if you want to go do that thing, go do it, because you just don't know what tomorrow has to bring. And we all want to appreciate life. We want to appreciate our planet. We want to appreciate our family. But don't wait until tomorrow to do it, if that makes sense. So I'm going to take my own advice and keep living life to the fullest. And if some people don't like it, well, again, life is too short to waste the energy on those that aren't going to support you. Of course, if it's something bad, then yes, you need certain people to hold you back. But for the most part, if it's something that's going to make you happy, that's going to make you thrive, that's going to like make you live your life to the fullest, then get those people in your corner and just continue to live on and do it the best way that you can. So again, thank you so much for watching. I don't know that I want to say if you like this video, because this was not it. Like, this is scary. This is not for content, but it's definitely something that just naturally happened because I was sharing my first mammogram experience, and then it turned into this chaotic situation that I did not anticipate or see coming. So if you want to like this video because I shared it, please do, but that's not what we're here to do. This is really about a reminder of living life, and don't forget to get your regular checkups, not just breasts, everything else. Get your regular chest checkups. blood drawn. Like there's so many things out there that we just don't even know. It's scary. Our human body is very powerful, but it's also very scary. And so just take this as your reminder and to take care of yourself. So thank you again so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye, guys.